Long ago, in a quiet village at the edge of the savannah, where the wind whispered through tall grasses and the ancient baobab tree stood like a guardian of secrets, there lived a lonely boy named Kofi. Kofi had no father. His mother had returned to the ancestors when he was just 5 reigns old. The villagers were kind, but no one truly had time for a child who asked him many questions about life and about death. You see, Kofi was different. While other children ran from funeral drums, Kofi followed them. While others feared the graveyard beyond the river, Kofi stared at it from a distance, wondering, where do they go? Who walks with them? One evening, as the sun melted into gold and the sky turned the color of fire, Kofi sat beneath a great baobab tree outside the village, and that was when he saw him. A tall stranger dressed in simple white cloth, barefoot, silent. He stood beneath the tree's shadow as if he had always been there. Kofi did not run. Instead, he spoke. "Good evening, sir. Are you lost?" The stranger looked at the boy not with coldness, but with something softer, something ancient. "No," the man replied. "I am never lost. I only travel." Kofi tilted his head. "Where are you traveling to?" The man smiled faintly. "Where I am needed." Something about the stranger felt heavy, like the quiet before rain. Yet Kofi felt no fear. "Will you sit with me?" the boy asked. And so, death sat beside him. The village did not know that each evening, when the sun bowed to the earth, death came to sit with a small boy under the baobab tree. They spoke of many things, of why leaves must fall, of why rivers must dry before they flow again, of why even the strongest lion must one day lie still. "Is it lonely?" Kofi once asked. "Is what lonely?" Death replied, "taking people away." Death was silent for a long while. "Yes," he finally answered, "it is very lonely. No one greets me with kindness. No one asks me to sit." Kofi thought about this deeply. "My mother was not afraid," he said softly. Before she closed her eyes, she smiled, like she saw something beautiful. Death's gaze softened. "She saw peace," he said. One season, sickness came to the village. The drums beat more often. The wailing lasted through the night. Fear spread faster than fire in dry grass. The elders gathered and whispered, "Death walks among us." They were right, but they did not know he sat peacefully each evening with a child. One night, Kofi noticed something different. Death did not sit, he stood, and his presence felt heavier than ever. "It is time," Death said gently. Kofi's small heart trembled. "For who?" he asked. Death knelt before him. "For you." The world grew quiet. The wind stopped moving. Even the insects seemed to hold their breath. Kofi swallowed, but he did not cry. "Will it hurt?" he asked. "No." "Will I see my mother?" "Yes." Kofi looked up at the baobab tree, the place where he had learned that endings were not curses, but doorways. He took a deep breath. Then, "May I walk with you?" Death, who had taken kings and warriors, who had faced screams and curses for centuries, felt something he had not felt in a very long time. He felt respect. So instead of carrying the boy, Death walked beside him. And as they moved, something strange happened. The sickness in the village began to fade. The fever broke. The crying stopped. Morning came softer than it had in weeks. When the villagers found Kofi beneath the baobab tree at dawn, he looked peaceful, as though he were simply asleep. And for the first time in generations, the elders did not speak of death with hatred. They spoke of him with understanding. For the village healer, an old woman who saw deeper than most, said, "Death is not our enemy. He is only the keeper of balance." From that day on, whenever the funeral drum sounded, the villagers would place a small wooden stool beneath the baobab tree, an invitation, a sign of respect. And it is said that death no longer walks that village with heavy steps, because once, a small boy showed him kindness. And so, the elders still tell their children, "Do not fear what you do not understand. Even the darkest shadow may carry a quiet heart, and kindness, even to death, echoes beyond the grave."